Welcome to this Rules You Got Wrong for our first Warhammer 40,000 6th edition battle report. This was a 1,500 point game of Orks versus Tyranids. It was my Orks versus Mark's Tyranids. And if you haven't seen the game yet, it's right there. So pause this and click on that because you don't want any of the spoilers or to find out how close the game was. Okay, all the people haven't seen it gone. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, I wasn't close at all. I had my butt handed to me quite well. But it was a great game because I learned a lot and there was lots of comments, which is great because that's how I learn. And it was great playing against Mark, who'd been playing 6th edition since it pretty much came out. My only previous game of 6th edition was with Nick when we played a quick 500 point game versus Orks versus Black Templar, which is right here for those who want to see it. It's a quick bat rap. It's only a turn summary one. But I think in the end we were ignoring most of the newest 6th edition rules and pretty much just still playing a 5th edition game. So, so this game was great and we made mistakes, which is not very good, but I learned you comment on them, we learn from them, and we don't make them again. So that's great. So speaking of comments, I've got 2 pages of comments today. So we'll start going through those, and I start off with compliments because I like the good stuff before the bad stuff. So compliments came in from Puppy Marie, Ork Benji, and It's Nid Orks Life. I'm sorry for butchering people's usernames. All commenting about they like the bat rap, and thank you for that. Kevin Locke commented, "You need new dice. You keep rolling ones when they count the most. Great report. Pity about the early time." So yeah, the dice. I always get a little worried. My Death Head dice, which I've had. Look at these guys. Get it right here, confuse my camera. I've had these since the early 90s when I used to play Shadowrun. When you rolled a 1, it was really bad. But they're actually the old engraved dice. So I was always wondering if there may be a balance issue. Because if you look at the bat raps I've done with like my 5th edition bat raps and some of the ones I did against Matt and Dave, they seem to roll more in my favor than against my favor. So this game shows you that it's not just my dice. It's I can have bad luck as well. So, which was kind of frustrating, but not a bad thing. But I'm not getting rid of my Death Head dice. I've had them for 20 some odd years. I'm not getting rid of them now. So, Castell Crow commented, "Interesting Nid list." So Mark explained that he was brought a list that was very shooty. I guess he's using it for a upcoming tournament in Stratford, Ontario. I think in sometime in November. It's a charity tournament, and he said he was going for a very shooty list, which obviously I wasn't prepared for. I was prepared for a lot of bugs. I brought the Burner Boys. That's why I brought boys with a lot of shooters, hoping to be able to just plow down a lot of the guys. But unfortunately, brought a really interesting list and showing that the Tyranids in 6th edition can be a force to be reckoned with. Vichysois commented, "It's not often you see a Doom and Malentine foot slogging." He commented the same thing. He said normally he drops that in through not the spore mine, whatever the drop pod is for the Tyranids. And he actually showed me the model. He had a really nice model of one that a friend of his custom built for him out of the old plastic lemon juice container. So if I play Mark again, which I'm hoping to have a rematch, I'll take some photos and make sure I focus on, because all of Mark's army looked really nice. It was great to see on the table and came across in the video quite well as well. And yeah, actually a fellow wargamer commented about the Doom and Malentine as well. So into comments. Grendel talked about blast wounds. Says, "Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought blast wounds can hit models out of sight, just as I've been able to see the target to fire at." And that is correct. I'm not sure where we got the idea that you had to be able to see line of sight for the blast to wound. So when those 2, I think it was the Carnifexes that were shooting at the Burner Boys, when they scattered, they should have taken out those guys as well. So make a note of that one. And then Danny the King says the same. They basically said, yeah, I agree with that as well. So next up, talking about Feel No Pain versus Bone Swords. And this one I've actually done a bit of research and talked to my peer group or meta to see how they're thinking on it. And basically what it was talking, so it was Joe Vito 1, Alex Timmins Mobile, and Satrick. So I don't know if you get some of these guys' username. Do you actually plan on people pronouncing it, or is it just your username and you don't think about it? I'm just curious because some of these things I can't pronounce for the life of me. But basically what happened So Joe Vito says you don't get feel no pain against bone swords because they cause instant death. Alex Timmons Mobile responded by saying bone swords don't cause instant death. The feel no pain, then leadership roll to see if the instant death affects. And then Joe Vito responded to the rule, says you immediately check for instant death upon the wound. And then Sat Rick V commented, quoting the guide, the actual rule book. So I made a point of being somewhat prepared for this. So here's some snippets from the rule book. So start off with the bone sword. It says no armor save may be taken against wounds inflicted in close combat by a Tyranid with a bone sword. In addition, if a model suffers one or more unsaved wound in close combat from a Tyranid with a bone sword, it must immediately pass a leadership test or suffer instant death. If the Tyranid creature inflicts armed with a pair of bone swords, the leadership test is done on 3d6. So the point I wanted, that to me, this is my take on it. If you think I'm wrong, comment below, and we can keep this conversation going. But basically, it says, in addition, if a model suffers one or more unsaved wounds, so that's the thing, is he suffers unsaved wounds. Now, and that's from page 83 of the Tyranids Codex under Bone Swords. So we go to the Feel No Pain special rules on page 35 of the 6th edition rulebook. It says, a model with this special rules, when a model with special rule suffers an unsaved wound, and I bold and italicized this because this is the point I want to make, it can make a special Feel No Pain roll to avoid being wounded. This is not a saving throw. So the way I read this is basically, as you take an unsaved wound, you're taking it, the Feel No Pain is basically saying is that, so you're avoiding being wounded. So you've taken an unsaved wound, but this is Feel No Pain is giving you the ability to avoid being wounded. So if the Feel No Pain is successful, you're not taking the wound, therefore the bone swords doesn't work. So that's the way I'm arguing it. I've talked to a few people where they're sort of on the fence, and then the Joe Vito and Sac Rick V both are on the idea that you would roll your leadership. If you pass your leadership, then you roll your Feel No Pain. If you don't, then he's dead. I think in the end it didn't matter because he failed it and he was dead anyways. But I'm curious to see what people think on this one, because I think depending on what side of the fence you could argue it one way or the other. But I think the wording and I mean the rules can be a little bit open to interpretation as well. But to me, it can make a special Feel No Pain roll to avoid being wounded. That to me negates the bone sword. But comment below, let me know what you think, because I'm curious. So that takes care of those. Sacred V and Danny the King both commented when my biker boys were going in to attack the Tyranid, the Tyranid warriors and the Tyranid Prime. I didn't do any of the Hammer of Wrath rolls, which I should have. I should have got those initiative 10 hits, which I failed to do. So I'll remember that next time. Lash Whip and Joe Vito. One says Warboss should have been initiative 1 because of Lash Whip. Well, he was initiative 1 because of Power Claw, so he didn't get any benefits for that. So, and the thing that seemed to cause the biggest volume of comments, and to be honest, everyone was right and I was wrong, was Look Out Sir. So, Go Solve, J Snake 576, Joe Vito 1, Sacric V, Baza and Ork Benji all commented, and I'll paraphrase this because everyone was basically right. We were doing Look Out Sir wrong. So what we were doing in the game is I would make my regular save if I could make it. If I couldn't make my regular save, I'd make my Feel No Pain, and this was all on Mad Dog Groznik. And if I failed my Feel No Pain, I would then make my Look Out Sir. And the correct way of doing it, as according to the rules, basically is if you take a wound, and if you're allocated a wound, you can allocate it to someone within 6 inches of yourself and have them take it. And because he's an independent character, he'd be a 2+. And that way, you're not getting basically 3 saves. The way I was doing it, you're basically getting 3 saves, which makes it somewhat nastier. So it would have been. I can see from after looking at it, I can see why why we were doing it wrong. But if it was the way I was doing it, man, that would make that so much better. So, Danny the King commented about Mad Doc. In Tommy goes, Matt, really well done. One thing though, Mad Doc unit shouldn't have been able to shoot. He must move forward as fast as possible. When he's not charging distance, he must run. Now, I looked in the Mad Doc, I looked in the FAQ, and I looked in the rule book, the codex, and I don't see any reference to saying that he has to run. It does say he has to move quickly as fast as possible. He must move as fast as possible towards the enemy, assaulting it if possible. It doesn't say that you actually have to run. Now, fast as possible, I guess that's open to interpretation as well. The way we were doing it was I had to move the full movement allowance towards the closest guy. So I was always moving towards the closest unit as fast as I could, but I wasn't running as well. So again, comment below. Let me know what you think if I'm reading a little bit too much into it. But I didn't see anything saying that you had to run during your shooting phase. And the JSnakes576 commented, why didn't the Tyranids at 513 from YouTube Part 2 get a cover save? And I think that was a case either, because I know it was the ones, the Tyranids on the Termagants on the left-hand side that were just being shot at by the Ludas. I'm not sure if we just missed capturing the save, the roll for the save, or we just missed it by mistake. But you're right, they should have got that cover save. I just don't remember, because every now and then when you're filming, you occasionally miss a video where you hit start and then hit stop right away and not realizing. So every now and then you don't get every bit of video. So, but yeah, I believe, if memory serves me correctly, we rolled it and he failed it, but it could have been we just forgot it. But I think it was a perfect example of my shooting going horribly, horribly wrong, even for Orks. And then Pat Simmons 2 commented for MiniWargaming. He said, Termagants, didn't the Termagants with Devourers get 3 shots each? And they did get 3 shots. The first squad that only got, they only got 6 dice. They got 4 dice. I have to double check, but there was only a few of them that were within range, and that's why there was a smaller group. The second group of 10, actually I think it was 9 at that point, got 27 shots because it was they got their full 3 shots each. So he was doing the Devourers 3 shots each. I think the one case it was just a matter of there weren't enough guys close enough to be able to do it. So. And that brings to the end of the comments. So I'd like to thank everyone for making those comments. And if you have any comments to this one, throw them below. So if you're looking to play a game, I'm always looking for opponents. If you're in the Southern Ontario, primarily the Kitchener-Waterloo, say London. If you're up for a drive, the Toronto area, there's an excellent store we play at in downtown Kitchener called Phoenix Games, which has a great, lot of tables, great terrain, really good guys there. So more than happy to play anyone who wants to have a game there. Also, if you're in the Oshawa-Durham area, I head up to there on occasion too. So if anyone who's up for a game, just comment below or reach out to me at Deathhead Dice. And you'll see that right about here. Just comment there, just email me at Deathhead Dice and we can arrange a game. I'm hoping to have a game with a Necron player shortly. I haven't been playing with my group that I was playing with the previous in the 5th edition, primarily because everyone's gone over to War Machine and Hordes, so they're not really playing their 40k stuff, and I don't think any of them have had a 6th edition game yet. So, and I'm not quite comfortable enough to start being the guy that tells them how to play the game because I'm still learning it myself. So, I haven't seen. Although we may see Les crack out his Necrons again sometime soon. But if you're up for a game, by all means, let me know. I'd be up for it. And thank you once again for all the subscribers. I've hit 250. I didn't think I'd hit that number this quickly, and I'm over 23,000 views. So appreciate you guys subscribing and watching the videos, and keep watching, and I'll keep making them. So that's it for now. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.